Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. It is Wildcard Wednesday. We're going to send you into the holidays with some laughs, with some head scratchers, lots of great stuff. Please be sure to subscribe. We need you as subscribers. You guys keep us afloat. We so appreciate having you. Plus, then you'll never miss our amazing guests. I think we get really interesting, sometimes obscure, but worthy listens for our guests. So stay with us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Here we go into Wildcard Wednesday, and we got to start with some fresh new video from Kamala Harris. Suffice to say, she's back from Hawaii, and she doesn't want you to let go of your power. Go ahead and roll it, John.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
I won't. I mean, it's good advice. And it can be applied to all kinds of life situations. So whether you're at work, whether you're in a relationship, whatever, whether you're fighting for your political right to party, don't let go of your power. Kamala didn't look great there. I think she's pretty beat up. And quite frankly, I think it takes some guts to get in front of a camera and say that. There was a mega donor who came out and said, we raised $1.5 billion for Kamala Harris to get elected. And she blew it. And that should mean she's never running for president again. She's not qualified. If you can't take $1.5 billion, by the way, you went over budget, you can't do this. You can't run for president. Furthermore, he let out some secrets. This was on Chris Cuomo's show on News Nation. He said, Kamala was not our first choice, wasn't Barack's first choice. No one thought she could win. And yet they still went and raised all that money for her. Do you know they spent $900,000? And if you haven't seen this image, you can get it almost anywhere on Google, to put her on the Sphere in Las Vegas. Her big picture on the exterior of the Sphere in Las Vegas. $900,000. And she didn't win Nevada. So there you go. So I don't know what's next for Kamala Harris. They're talking about maybe running for governor of California, but I think that's a step down from where she's been. She can't, look, I don't care what they tell you about why she won or lost. I'll just say this, bottom line, inauthentic candidate, not qualified, made so many mistakes. A left of Bernie leftist ain't happening. So you better develop a bench real quick, because all this talk about Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom, I don't see it happening. I can see a couple other names, and I think they'll start getting those people out there quickly. But now you're running against J.D. Vance. Trump's in. These next 100 days, once he gets in office, are going to be really consequential, and then we'll see what happens from there. But after that, you're running against J.D. Vance, and that's not going to be easy. That guy's a genius on the debate stage. All right, we're going to go to cut number 3, John. We had this guy, Scott Pressler, on the podcast, and he basically moved himself to Pennsylvania to register voters, to get people out, to engage, to get people to register Republican and vote for Donald Trump. And then he was asked this question by a CNN reporter. Let's roll that cut. It's number 3, John.
I noticed that when you urge people to action,
yes,
you often include the word
peacefully.
Is that to avoid another Jan 6 type incident?
With all due respect, it's to avoid people like you guys saying that I'm anything but. My motto is to just be super cute, have my data and facts, treat everyone with love and respect, and as you can see, an army of people will follow.
I admire Scott Pressler so much. Because he's just who he is. My job is to look cute. I mean, who says that? But he just threw it right back at her. You're going to try to make me look like I'm, and us, his army of people look like we're not peaceful. I'm not taking it. I'm not going to take it. Scott Presser was one of the most grassroots organizers that the Republican Party had in Pennsylvania, maybe anywhere. He accomplished so much. He put his money where his mouth is, and he walked the walk. And just watch this kid. I can call him a kid. It's remarkable. Now, I'm going to go back a little ways here, and we're going to go to cut 2 here, John. Catherine Herridge was at Fox News. She got hired away by CBS because she is a bona fide investigative journalist. You may know Catherine Herridge. We're going to roll a clip here that you're going to be able to see and remember her. But here's one of the most interesting things about Joe Biden to begin with. Would he have been elected in 2020 had people known about his son's involvement with foreign governments, his son profiting from foreign governments, and, 10% for the big guy being Joe, all of that been rightfully exposed. But, it was banned on Twitter by Peter Dorsey, who owned Twitter then. It was shadow banned in all kinds of places. Zuckerberg wouldn't use it. They were calling it this was Russian disinformation, all of those things. But listen to this from Catherine Herridge. She was employed at CBS. And according to her, there were people who really wanted her to follow this investigation and look into it. But then there were operatives in the newsroom who maybe didn't. Let's start this cut 3.
We eventually broadcast a story about the Hunter Biden laptop after the midterm elections in 2022. We commissioned a forensic review. I got a copy of the laptop data. I have it here still. I went to a lot of effort to get the cleanest copy of the laptop data, the same data that was provided to the FBI, because I didn't want to have any professional journalistic risk for CBS News. I wanted this thing to be totally locked down. When we did the story, we did it after the midterms. I argued against that because it was ready before the midterms. And my training is that you should always do the story when it's ready to go. You should not be dictated by the political cycle. Once we got the laptop story on the morning news, I felt that there was so much there that we could still do. For example, in the text messages, there's unfortunately the use of the N-word, the liberal use of the N-word. And I thought this was worthy of a story, but I was told that it was not something that interested CBS News. Then I asked for a forensic review of the laptop, and we found that there were more than half a dozen emails that were likely used by Joe Biden. I thought that was a story. But the answer that came back was, well, we need to know what the content is of the emails. But that was going to be a years-long process. So there was no way. So there were a lot of reasons I was told not to do it, not to pursue it.
Well, there you go. Now, so she was there after the midterms. They're talking about, again, could this have affected people's votes? When you have information, that's when you have power. That's when you have knowledge. I'm currently listening to a biography by John Meacham of Thomas Jefferson. And one of the things he said, Jefferson, way back around the founding, was don't be hard on your citizens for making bad mistakes. Instead, let's make sure that they can all read. That'd be good. And let's make sure that we give them information to read. Now, what's interesting about that, how prescient is that? See, we don't really change that much over time. That's prescient because, at least in the state I live in, 50% of our kids can't read at their grade level. Instead, we're focused on, critical race theory, gender theory, and kids can't read or do math. And so if they can't read or do math, how are they supposed to stay informed? So anyway, and then, you've got television, you've got the internet, but no, we're not interested in these stories. According to Catherine Herridge, the CEO of CBS, Sherry Redstone, wanted these stories pursued, but people in the newsroom didn't. And that shows you where politics come into play. I have told you about my friends at besthotgrill.com, and with football and tailgating back in season and the holidays approaching, This is a great gift. This tailgate infrared grill, it sets up fast, it heats up quickly. This thing takes 3 minutes to get to searing hot temperatures. So this is just a little Solaire, but it works just as powerfully as the big backyard Solaires, the full-size ones. A Solaire grill will make you master of the tailgater with the juiciest, most flavorful food in the parking lot. It will also make you master of the gift giving, because this is just a great gift for everyone. And the fast grilling times, well, that leaves you and your friends more time to enjoy pregame festivities. They also cool down really fast, so you won't miss a minute of the game. These are made in America, USA made, anywhere, everywhere, and all about infrared grills. They are portable. They're perfect for any grilling on the go. We're talking picnics, camping, RVs, boating, and especially tailgating. Amaze your tailgating friends with the great food you grill with your Solaire infrared grill. I'm telling you, I love supporting this product because it's made in the USA. There's veteran involvement, and it works. We have one of these. It sears the food. It is so flavorful. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. And you can try it before you buy it. So learn more about these fantastic grills and Solaire's Try Before You Buy demo rental program at besthotgrill.com. Besthotgrill.com for the best holiday gifts you can find. Besthotgrill.com. Okay, one of my favorite pieces of video from the week involves Scott Jennings. This guy's at CNN. He's a conservative voice at CNN. Yeah, they have one. They have a guy, Scott Jennings. Anyway, watch this piece of video as he explains to the people on the panel that he got this information from CNN, and yet they still try to debunk it on CNN. Let's roll cut number 4.
Also, I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Scott,
of any platform.
stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes.
You're going to be embarrassed when I tweet out after the show, but
you
it's
cannot
true.
say that.
So,
That's not the case.
So
Who's the source
of that? What I find, we reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement.
Scott,
but my point is
can I reframe it a different way? Because the site changed radically, right? So whether you think the voices it is somehow more balanced now, that's fine. But no doubt Musk's influence is profound, and that you open it up and now you're there with his opinion, and he is now part of this administration. So does anyone else think that there should be this greater concern about billionaires purchasing media companies?
Okay. Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Because MS...
No, because Bill Gates is sane. I think that she's implying that she believes Elon Musk is not sane. We reported it on CNN that X is now the most balanced ideological site. Oh, no, that's not true. Where did you hear that? Here on CNN? No, it's not true. I mean, that is quintessential CNN boiled down to a few seconds there as to what they do. And it doesn't bother them if Bill Gates or maybe, some other George Soros, because they're sane. I shouldn't speak on George Soros because they didn't say that, but they did say Bill Gates. So, Elon Musk may be thinking about buying MSNBC. Now, here's the thing. Elon Musk can do whatever he wants. Is he part of the administration? Yes, if he's with this Department of Government Doge efficiency with Vivek Ramaswamy, but they're two businessmen. This is what they do. So, look, I'll tell you this. X has become a massive source of news. And just because Elon's on there doesn't mean he shouldn't post. I mean, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, and look at that thing. There's another billionaire who's invested in news. Hasn't worked out very well for him. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens to the likes of CNN, ABC News, MSNBC, these entities that showed how political they are. And yet somehow they're okay. They're the right bias. They're the right frame of mind, point of view. Everything else is not. Everything else is insane. I just love that. And speaking of insane, We go to The View now. John, this is cut number 5. Whoopi Goldberg is kind of changing her tune on how to fight the resistance against the Trump administration, but Ana Navarro is not budging. Take a look.
I think what we're all saying is we're going to sit and watch. We're going to wait and see because we can't do anything else except.
I'm not going to wait and see. I mean, this guy is told us he's a retribution. He's going to be a dictator.
There's nothing to be done until you know what you're fighting. It's pissing in the wind doesn't help. You just get a wet face.
But I mean, what I'm saying is I have no false expectations that at 78 he's going to all of a sudden turn into a natural human being. And I'm not going to spend. I spent weeks telling people that he was apocalyptic. I'm not going to change now because it's still the same man.
Not treating every single thing like
I think that's when we lose credibility.
Well, here's the thing. You lose credibility in many different ways. If you don't know what you're talking about and you accuse him of something, then they're going to blow it back. That's why I say we need to wait and see exactly what you're going to do.
But see, Whoopi, on the one hand, you've got these two sides of this coin. You've got Ana Navarro who's saying, I've been saying it all along, I'm not going to change my tune. That's how I maintain credibility. And then Whoopi's saying, well, we got to wait and see. That's how you maintain credibility. Even though Whoopi refuses to say the man's name, it's Donald Trump. And she refuses, I mean, she has come across as unhinged as anyone about what this guy's going to do and how he's going to be Hitler and all the rest. And now she's suddenly wait and see. This is because, and you've heard it, The View now is going, holy crap, we so overestimated Kamala, underestimated the Trump voter, and now we don't have any representation on this show for the Trump voter. You all wore black onto the set the day after the election because you were in mourning over an election. And now we're going to lose a ton of audience. And the only reason we had an audience that week was because people were hate watching. They wanted to watch us melt down. And now The View is saying we need Trump supporters in our audience and maybe on this panel. So I think Whoopi's trying to walk that middle ground and Ana Navarro ain't budging. But I don't know who was saying it. If everything's a 5-alarm fire, nothing's a 5-alarm fire. And that is true. Okay. We're going to go to this PBS NewsHour clip. So I'm not going to show you the anchor's lead into this because you don't need to see it. But suddenly, because there was an election and Donald Trump has appointed a gay man to his cabinet, he's appointed just a variety of people with ideological differences all over the map. But suddenly it's the trans community that is in serious trouble. They're so afraid. I remember this happened in 2016. Gay people were suddenly afraid to go out the door. Like, what evidence do you have that you're not safe? Well, let's. These are 3 people that were interviewed by PBS. They are one way, shape, or form part of the trans community. So this again is number 8. Roll it, John.
I'm Sarah Adams. I am a proud Choctaw person. I live in Oklahoma, and I'm Two-Spirit.
My name is Beth. I am a parent of a trans child.
Hi, my name is Kai. My pronouns are he, they. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I'm the executive director at Trans Lifeline, a grassroots nonprofit that supports trans people in crisis all across America.
There's an overwhelming sense of fear. We've had lots of conversations about the need for access to health care, to gender affirming care. I work primarily with youth, and so that is a big, big concern. Safety in schools is a huge thing.
We saw over 800% calls increased on that day, the day of the election results. That was a very sobering number.
I mean, I think that there's a portion of Americans out there that just don't want to learn and stay ignorant whenever it comes to gender. They are very black and white whenever they're like, there's only boys and girls.
We're scrambling to find resources and trying to figure out a way to maintain access to very, very basic services, much less, services to thrive, right? It's about survival right now.
We continue to be told that our bodies are not ours, that we don't get the right to decide how we exist in our own bodies. No matter how much we fight for people to see us as human, we are constantly up against this idea that trans people are not human.
Okay. That's one of the most ridiculous statements I've ever heard. I don't know whom he is referring to whom he is referring. I don't know. I've never heard that trans people aren't human. I've never heard that. Except from him. Now, he's a he, they. So I don't get that, first of all. He, they. So his pronouns are he, they. So he goes to the store, but they, I don't understand it. Look, suddenly, after 2,000 years of life on this planet, of male and female, we have this gender fluidity. Fine. We've had gender fluidity for ages, right? We know ages ago, gay, lesbian, whatever. But this trans thing is confusing to a lot of people. First of all, the two-spirit thing means she believes that there's male and female and everyone. Well, sure, fine. That's gender stuff. That's not biology. And no one's going to deny you healthcare. Now, they might deny people under the age of 18 from having their stuff cut off, from having double mastectomies, from taking drugs that will make them infertile for the rest of their life. Talk to some of these detransitioners and their regret and how they were forced into some of these surgeries to placate others, to make others feel like they were helping. Look, the first kind of care everyone should have access to is mental health in this area, because no one needs hormones. No one needs puberty blockers. No one needs to have their junk cut off or their breasts removed to function in the world. Mental health should be focused upon, and no one's taking that away. And I'm right here to say, expand it in any way possible to help people who are confused about their gender. But I also don't know why this is suddenly, like in the last 5 years, this massive issue. With young people in particular, let them figure it out. Their brains are not fully developed. Puberty sucks. But adversity makes you stronger. Go through it. Take it from someone who did and hated every minute of it. But adversity makes you stronger. We are so hell-bent on protecting our youth from any kind of adversity, any kind of difficulty, any kind of challenge in life. Yeah, it's hard to watch kids be emotionally down. It's hard to watch them scared. But they've got to go through it. Otherwise, they're not going to grow up and mature into productive, strong, resilient adults. It's pretty simple. What are we trying to protect them from? Just living life with the rest of the world? Just telling them they're victims instead? And making it your life mission to protect victims who, if you pull back, maybe aren't really victims. Maybe they only think they are because you convince them that they are. Yeah, we are certainly in the age of the victimhood Olympics. So I'm sorry. I'm just not buying this whole crisis. Mental health, yes. Maybe I just need some more sleep. We all need more sleep. And I've been getting more sleep. And I've had so many people ask me, is this sleep cream stuff, is this for real? And I emphatically say, Yes, I have had the best experience. So, sleep cream, and cream is spelled C-R-E-M-E. I'm just going to say that right off the top. So, I know you're probably thinking, what the heck is it? And how can a cream help you sleep? Well, sleep cream is this really revolutionary new product. It's made of all natural ingredients and with pure CBD crystals. And yes, you simply rub it on sensitive skin areas right at bedtime. So, like, I'll put it on the insides of my forearms, the bottoms of my feet. You will feel relaxed in a matter of minutes, and you'll get the best sleep you've had in years. I certainly have, and I've recommended it to many people. And best of all, here's the thing. It's guaranteed to work or your money back, no questions asked. I know what you're thinking. How can a cream on the bottoms of my feet or the insides of my forearms help me sleep better? And again, I'm telling you, if you want an all-natural way to sleep better, you got to try Sleep Cream. And maybe you've heard all kinds of mixed messages about CBD, but I am telling you that Sleep Cream only uses pharmaceutical-grade pure CBD crystals with 0 THC, and it's made right here in the USA. That's a good thing. Too good to be true? Try it for yourself, and with its 100% money-back guarantee, you've got nothing to lose except more sleepless nights. Go to sleepcream.com. That's sleep, CREME.com. Use code GAMEDAY, all one word, to get free shipping, standard shipping on your first order. Free standard shipping with the code GAMEDAY. If you're ready for your best sleep ever, sleepcream.com. That's sleep, CREME.com. All right, so the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, it's amazing this guy got elected. And I'm guessing they don't have a recall thing in Chicago, an ability to recall a mayor, because he's a legit candidate for recall. Now, the people in Chicago are PO'd. They're pissed off. They're ticked. They're angry. And they're angry because of this $300 million property tax increase proposal, which did get voted down. But Brandon Johnson has made no secret of the fact that Chicago is a sanctuary city. You can come there and you can get all kinds of money and resources from Chicago, which ultimately takes away resources because resources are finite. There are not infinite resources. There are not infinite numbers of schools and hospitals and money in Chicago. There's not. And there are a lot of people in Chicago who are already getting hosed even before this thing happened. You want to hear for yourself? Go ahead and play cut 10, John.
We're going to turn red. Y'all can bird dog me all y'all want, but if it's relationship over duty, then y'all don't serve the blue. And you can smirk all you want.
Mr. Sims, direct your attention towards me, please.
You're a criminal. Why do I got to address you? The feds need to address you. DOJ need to address you, and hopefully Donald Trump will address you. Because you're going to protect the undocumented. Why you going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer under your, 33%? See, Joe Lopez cooked that 3% up a long time ago. Y'all called it a circuit breaker. Y'all been talked about it. Remember, before you came in here and gave that jovial speech, you need to be inspected. You wearing that creep over there.
All right. That's the first part of what I want to show you. We'll go to the second part here, but let's just... People are mad. He's saying the DOJ should look into you. You need to be inspected. You're a criminal. Why should I look at you? Wow. And tell him you can smirk at me all you want. But we're going to turn red. And you saw a little bit of that in Illinois and in Chicago. There were, a lot of people who voted against this blue agenda. They're not happy. And you can't blame them. Here's the rest of the clip. Roll it, John.
Acting like, you're just going to bully everybody. You got people, officers whose families don't even want you to come to the funeral. You just like a schoolyard bully. That at some point, and you might not know nothing about it because you grew up in Elgin, but those of us who grew up on the south side and west side of Chicago, we all know at some point that bully gets cornered in the alley. And everybody come at him. And he ain't going to have nobody to help him. That's you. That's you. Keep thinking you ain't going to You ain't going to abide by what the President of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in City Council in red. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So you and the rest of them that know what time it is, y'all come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser. He's a loser. No, me and Zoe, we ain't doing nothing for nobody except for ourselves. We got you, loser.
It makes you wonder what that city council and what Brandon Johnson are thinking of their citizens. Like, are they thinking, oh, these are rabble rousers, they're trouble, they're kind of on the fringe? Or are they thinking, maybe we should listen? Something tells me it's not the latter. Look, people, this is where your vote is so powerful. You can't just keep voting for losers and people who treat you this way. It's been really a remarkable year in America. You're seeing things like this. And really, I think, people talked about the economy, and definitely that was a big issue. Social issues for sure. And I think immigration was massive. I do. It's come to every state now. Whether you hate it or love it, what Texas did by busing immigrants out of Texas into New York, into Nantucket or wherever that was in Massachusetts, into Illinois, into Minneapolis, into Los Angeles, into Seattle, wherever. Now, look, I understand why everyone wants to come to America, because as much as so many of you hate it and you think it's the worst place on earth, it's the freest place on earth. We are not ruled by a king. We are not ruled, knock on wood, by any kind of authoritarian. No, Donald Trump is not an authoritarian. You'll see. And it's been that way for almost 250 years. Let's keep it that way. So immigration, though, I mean, to see people want to come here is one thing. To let them come unvetted, and now we have at least 300,000 missing children, unaccompanied minors in this country. They're missing. Where's AOC crying at the border? Where are all those Democrats crying at the border now? They're not saying a peep. They won't even talk about immigration now. They won't. And this idea that, oh, well, we finally did take executive order right before the election, and look, traffic's down. Well, now that they know Donald Trump is coming into power on January 20th, and that administration and Tom Homan's going to be the border czar, you see caravans coming again. They're trying to get here before January 20th. And we've got people coming from Afghanistan, China, Uzbekistan, not just the Ecuador and Venezuela and Colombia and Mexico. Again, resources are limited. And you've got people, liberals in government, who think it's okay to take what you pay for and give it to everybody else. That's called redistribution of wealth. It's basically stealing. No matter how much you make. I don't care what you make. If you're paying taxes on anything and you're getting hosed on the other end, it's because your government sucks and they don't care about you. They care about how they look. They care about virtue signaling. I'm sure some of them care about these immigrants. Some of them need care. But not all of these people are asylum seekers, folks. Don't let them tell you that. It's simply not true. What's so disgusting about the whole thing is that by encouraging all of this illegal immigration, by allowing it, by throwing open the doors, by not allowing Texas to put up its own border barriers, by saying, come on in, we'll take care of you. Go to New York. There's a room for you at the Roosevelt, and we'll give you a cash card so you can buy groceries and anything else you need, healthcare, educate, whatever you want. Come on in, we'll give it to you. Oh, no, we can't afford it for the veterans. We can't afford it for the Gold Star families. We'll let the private sector do that, but we can do it for you. We'll do it for you. That has given so much power to the drug cartels. So much money and power to the drug cartels. People who behead people, people who do all kinds of disgusting things. And so the result is not only do you have people coming from all over the world, but you have young people trying to get here. Here's another piece of tape that you may not have seen this week of a little tiny 2-year-old girl. And if you're listening and you can't see the captions, we'll explain afterward the conversation between this Border Patrol agent and this little tiny El Salvadorian girl who comes among 60 unaccompanied minors found at a Texas border crossing. This is cut 11. Go ahead, John.
Venezuela, mamá. Venezuela. ¿Sí? ¿Qué tantos años tienes? ¿2 años? ¿No vienes con tu mamá y tu papá? ¿No? ¿Venezuela? ¿Para dónde vas, mamá? ¿Dónde están? Estados Unidos? Okay.
She's 2. What he's asking her is, did you come alone? Venezuela. By the way, if he'd been speaking to a boy, he would have said viene solo, because we're not Latinx, we're Latinas and Latinos, and we have masculine and feminine verbs and nouns and articles. So he tells her, did you come alone? Sola. Yes, came alone. You didn't come with your mom and dad? Nope. ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? 2. You didn't come with your parents? No. You came alone? Yes. Where are your parents? En los Estados Unidos, in the United States. And she has a Post-it note, presumably with a phone number, reportedly with a phone number on it, so they'll call. So I would suggest at Thanksgiving that you maybe say a prayer for these little kids. God only knows what they've been through en route to the border. This is the stuff this administration encouraged. And I had a friend ask me, how expensive is it going to be, though, to deport these people? It's going to cost a lot of money. Do you know what it costs to bring them here? Because a lot of them came on flights in the middle of the night. Aren't we going to, isn't the price of eggs going to go up if we deport all these workers? I think our priorities are a little whacked out. I'm not going to leave you on a sad note, though. First, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about healthcare. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the increasing cost of health insurance and you've had enough of not having control of your healthcare dollars, I want to introduce you to ShareRight. That's healthcare done the right way. At ShareRight, you're not just a number, you're part of a caring community. And forget about paying excessive premiums. With ShareRight, you stand to save 30 to 50% compared to health insurance. Think about what you could do with all of that extra savings. But it's more than just the savings. ShareRight ensures that you have access to the care you deserve precisely when you need it, from routine checkups to unexpected emergencies. With ShareRight, your healthcare is their top priority. Empower yourself today by taking control of your healthcare costs. Visit shareright.org/Tafoya to learn more and see how much you can save. ShareRight, that's ShareRight.org/TAFOYA, Tafoya. That's ShareRight.org/TAFOYA. That's my last name. For healthcare done the right way. Okay, our last little bit of video before we bid you adieu is just funny, okay? And so, unfortunately, if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and you don't have access to the picture, you're not going to get as much a kick out of this. So go tune in on YouTube and then subscribe there too, because you always want to subscribe. It's free. What do you got to lose? This The post on X said, what if you called in sick to work and your excuse was, well, a cat fell on my head and then a dog wearing shoes tried to get retribution for me? What if you called in and that was what you tried to sell your boss or your spouse? I'm late from the grocery store because a cat fell on my head and then a dog wearing shoes tried to get justice on my behalf. I'm not kidding, and this is real. So this is cut number 6, John, roll it. Okay, so the cat falls from some incredibly high place. I don't know where. But the timing is unbelievable. It makes you think that the cat was aiming for this poor human. The human's probably instinct is, good God. Well, first he fell to the ground, but you would too. Like, what just landed on me? Because the average cat's probably around 10 pounds, falls from this 8 to 10 pounds, falls from this height. So it's coming down with force. You go to the ground. The cat runs off. You stay on the ground. You don't know what's happened. Maybe you've hit your head. Maybe you're unconscious. And then this dog comes wandering up and the dog has shoes on. And then the dog goes and tries to take it to the cat on your behalf. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you got to ask yourself, how do we get this priceless video? These pictures, these footages, these digital objects. How do we get them? How have we gotten so lucky that we get to see something like that? I don't know. But it's not always raining cats and dogs. Some places it is this Thanksgiving holiday, I hear. So be careful. Maybe take an umbrella even if it's not raining, because you never know what's going to fall out of the sky on your head. Either way, take courage, be brave, do good. Don't let anyone take your power, and have a really happy Thanksgiving.
Soy Salvador y voy para 38.
¿Tú?
Tengo 16 y vengo de Guatemala y voy a California. Tengo 16 y soy de Guatemala, voy para Cincinnati. Tengo 16 y voy para Honduras. 17 de Honduras. 16 de Guatemala.
¿Para dónde vas?
Para Virginia. Honduras 14 años. Guatemala 15 años.
¿Para dónde vas aquí en los Estados Unidos?
Estados Unidos.
¿Qué parte vas?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Soy de Honduras, tengo 16 años y voy para Wisconsin. Soy de Honduras, tengo 16 años y voy para Johnson City.
De Honduras tengo 16 años y voy para Virginia.
De Honduras tengo 17 años y para Dallas, Texas. De Honduras 17 años para Dallas, Texas. De Honduras 16 años y voy para Nueva York.
Soy de Honduras, tengo 12 años y voy para Mérida.
Soy de Guatemala, tengo 16 años y voy para Carolina del Norte. Soy de Guatemala, tengo 17 años y voy para California. De Honduras tengo 10 años y voy para Houston. De Honduras tengo 15 años y voy para Texas. De Honduras tengo 17 años y voy para Florida.
De El Salvador tengo 17 años y voy para Houston.
Soy de Ecuador, tengo 14 años y voy para Minneapolis. Soy Brandon, soy de El Salvador y voy para Los Ángeles.
Soy Omar, tengo 12 años y voy para Los Ángeles.
¿Tú, papi, dónde vas?
Tengo 9 años, soy de El Salvador y voy para California.
Vengo de Guatemala, tengo 16 años y voy para Miami, Florida College.
Mi nombre es Paola, soy de Ecuador y voy para
Mi nombre es Ashley, soy de Honduras y voy para Houston. Tengo 11 años.
Yo me llamo Chera.
¿Qué tantos años tienes, mamá?
4 años.
¿Qué tantos años?
4 años.
4 años.
Me llamo Marjorie, tengo 11 años y voy para Florida. Soy de Honduras. Me llamo Said y voy para los estados y tengo 7 años.
Soy de Guatemala, tengo 17 años y voy para California. Soy de Ecuador, tengo 17 y voy para New Jersey.
Soy de Venezuela, tengo 16 años y voy a Orlando, Florida.
Soy hondureña, tengo 17 años y voy para Nueva York.
Soy nicaragüense, tengo
17 y voy para Missouri.
Soy nicaragüense y tengo 11 años.
Soy hondureño, soy hondureño
¿Qué tantos años tiene?
16. Samira Jovi Cruz Pineda, 17 años, Honduras, Mérida. Honduras.
¿Qué tantos años tienes?
12.
12.
Guatemala, tengo 17 años. Tengo 16 años y soy de Honduras. Tengo 17 años y soy de Honduras.
Venezuela, mamá. ¿Venezuela? ¿Sí? ¿Qué tantos años tienes? ¿2 años? ¿No vienes con tu mamá y tu papá? ¿No? ¿Venezuela? ¿Para dónde vas, mamá? ¿Dónde están?
Estados Unidos.
¿Estados Unidos? Ok.